Wonderful noise, lots of colour in Copenhagen. The very vocal home crowd, many of them waving their red and white flags above their heads. But I've got to say, David Conley, the Finnish players look really pumped up. Their anthem was belted out on the PA system.
I mean, they look smart as well. They're sort of, the shirts are sort of like polo shirts, and a big moment for them. Huge moment, I think, in their international careers. Obviously qualifying for this tournament, and you know they want to do themselves proud. Look, they're up against it here. I think it's a really talented Danish team. But I guess if you've got someone like Teemu Pukki up top, I think you're always going to be a threat, and obviously that's what Finland have.
Yeah, David has alluded to the team sheets. Thanks to Intuit QuickBooks, let's take a look at the latest lineups in today's Denmark against Finland match. Well, the big decision for Kasper Hjulmand, the Danish coach, was who to start up front. In the end, Jonas Vind, second top scorer in the Danish league last season, has got the nod ahead of Kasper Dolberg, who is on the bench. Plenty of top European experience. Kasper Schmeichel, the FA Cup winner with Leicester, starts in goal. Vass, Simon Kjær, the captain, Chelsea's Andreas Christensen, and Joachim Mæhle make up the back four. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg of Tottenham Hotspur will partner Borussia Dortmund's Thomas Delaney holding in midfield, with Josef Poulsen and Martin Braithwaite, once of Middlesbrough, now at Barcelona, alongside Christian Eriksen in that three-pronged attack, supporting Jonas Vind, the lone striker. For Finland, Teemu Pukki is fit, having recovered from an ankle injury. That's a big boost for them. Radetsky in goal, Toivio, Arajuri and O'Shaughnessy in defence, with Raitala and Ewan in the wing-backs. Tim Sparv, once of Southampton's highly fertile youth academy, partners Rangers' Glenn Kamara in midfield, with Robin Lurb playing just in front of them, behind Pukki and Poya Paolo in attack. That was a look ahead to the squad in today's Denmark against Finland match, brought to you by Intuit QuickBooks, official sponsor of Talksport 2's coverage of UEFA Euro 2020. And we are just about ready for kick-off. I should mention we will be going back to Andrew McKenna for a full-time report in that rugby match, Exeter against Sale, that we had to leave early to bring you full uninterrupted commentary from Copenhagen. And it is Denmark, winners of this famous competition back in 1992, when they were called off the beach to replace war-torn Yugoslavia, in their red jerseys with the white sleeves, white shorts and red socks, shooting from left to right in this first half. Finland all in blue. They call themselves the Eagle Owls. That's after an owl landed on the crossbar during a match with Belgium back in 2007. And what a moment it is for Finland. 110 years in the making. And 3,000 supporters have made the 556-mile trip from Finland to Denmark to cheer their team on. Denmark seeing plenty of the ball early on. Daniel Vass has just been caught late there. First free kick of the afternoon. Glenn Kamara overzealous on the touchline. And you would expect Denmark to have the lion's share of possession, David Conley.
Yeah, I mean, look, they had the kick-off and they had 7 players on the halfway line. They only kept 2 centre-halves and 1 midfielder back, and immediately they went forward from the kick-off, obviously just trying to peg Finland back. I guess a statement of intent, and look, they're going to have an awful lot of the ball here today, the Danes. It's just whether, you know, Finland can just keep them out, I think, and then be a threat on the counter. That's where they normally score their goals, on the counter, but the Danes have Kasper Schmeichel in goal. If he's anything like he was in the cup final, he's going to be a really difficult man to beat.
Of course, Kasper Schmeichel looking to emulate his dad Peter, very much part of that Danish winning team back in 1992. And here's Pierre Højbjerg, strong challenge by Tim Sparv in the centre of the park. The referee Anthony Taylor waves play on there. It's an all-English lineup in terms of officials. Anthony Taylor referee, Gary Bezic and Adam Nunn his assistants. He's a throw in for Finland down their left-hand side, which will be hoisted back into play by Daniel O'Shaughnessy. Now picked up by Raitala down the finish right. 0-0. And we play 2 minutes here on Talksport 2. Finland enjoying their first prolonged spell of possession in the sunshine in Copenhagen. It's down the left-hand side with Jere Juronen. Kamara has made a lung-busting burst forward, but it was a strong challenge from Simon Kjær, the Danish captain, much to the appreciation of the home crowd. It will be a throw-in for Finland down the left-hand side, just about level with a penalty spot.
Yeah, nice little bit of football there. Kamara just sort of at the base of midfield. He just shifted the ball wide. He didn't hold his position. He then made a really good attacking midfield run forward. Got into this corner and he actually didn't get a corner, but he's got a throw. And obviously they've got a long one here, Finland. This will be coming in the box, you imagine.
Yeah, this seems to be the tactic, doesn't it? O'Shaughnessy with plenty of distance on it, and it's headed away from Andreas Christensen inside the congested Danish penalty area, picked up by Kamara, left corner of that 18-yard box. Good start this from Finland. O'Shaughnessy with a cross and Christensen there again to head clear, and it's collected over on the right touchline by Robin Lurd in the luminous blue footwear, plays it down the line to Teemu Pukki, does keep it in play for Finland, and here's Lurd once again over on that right hand side, dancing feet to try and get past Mailer. Still in possession here, Lurd, to switch it infield for Pukki, half blocked by Martin Brathwaite, and they're being forced back now, Finland, to the halfway line, but again Lurd just trying to feed it forward to Pukki. It was intercepted, and maybe Denmark can use the pace of Brathwaite to break away here down the left-hand side. That was a poor tackle, a scissor-type challenge, and we are going to see a very early yellow card. It is Robin Lurd, whose name has been taken by Anthony Taylor. I don't think, David, he can have any complaints.
No, it was a poor tackle on Brathwaite. I think he's made the most of this, Brathwaite, but just put it through his legs here of Lurd. What I liked about that start from Finland, that little bit of spell in possession, was just giving them a little bit of confidence. You know, they keep trying these little clever, cute balls, trying to pick out the runs of Pukki, and that only giving them encouragement. And look, Kamara's all over the place, isn't he? Full of energy, full of running. A lot of Rangers fans will know him.
Here's Brathwaite. He seems to be the outball early on for Denmark. Crosses from the left-hand side, but it's blocked behind by Raitala. First corner of the afternoon. Denmark 0, Finland 0. You're listening to Talksport 2. Alex Crook and the former Republic of Ireland World Cup striker David Connolly, your commentary team for this one. And it will be a Denmark corner that Christian Eriksen will take from the left-hand side in front of the area of the stadium, behind that goal away to the right, where the majority of the Finnish contingent are mustered. He's getting plenty of cheers here, Eriksen. How great is it to hear that noise again, the pantomime boos as an opposition player stands over a set piece. Anthony Taylor just watching some pushing and shoving inside the 6-yard box, so the kick has been delayed, but Eriksen will play it in now, right-footed towards the far post, and it was a free header, and it was nodded a cross goal by Thomas Delaney. Eriksen puts it back in, not great goalkeeping, punched down inside the area, and then Brathwaite on the swivel puts it back into the gloves of Lukas Radetzky, who was a bit nervous doing that first cross.
Yeah, he was. I mean, it's a really well-worked set piece here. Just pinged to the back post, and they worked it well just to try and get Delaney free. Headed it back across goal. Brathwaite with a couple of attempts trying to get the ball back across the 6-yard box. In the end, but that's just dropped the ball, didn't he? He just invited a challenge there from Poulsen, but in the end, he got two hands on it.
And the cross from Brathwaite did seem to flick off the arm of Poyapalo. Didn't look deliberate. And they have tightened up the handball rule UEFA for this tournament. We'll explain more on that as the afternoon progresses, because Denmark are coming forward with Daniel Vass with the light blonde hair down their right hand side, the sun beating down on this lush green surface in Copenhagen. As Christian Eriksen just flicks it out to that left hand side. We'll head back to the rugby to get a full-time report from Andrew McKenna very shortly. Denmark have the ball on halfway. A sea of red and white shirts all around this fantastic arena. 25,000 supporters inside. That was upped by the Danish government from a predicted 16,000 in the build-up to the tournament. And Brathwaite there linking up neatly on the edge of the area. Eriksen trying to get the ball out from under his studs, and the shot fist in, and it's a really good save down low to his right. The powerful strike from Jonas Vind, and an excellent save from Radetzky, the Finland goalkeeper.
Yeah, terrific here. First time hit from the edge of the box, about 20 yards out. Powerful. This is going into that bottom corner. Radetzky just batted it away.
Well, he's renowned as one of the top goalkeepers in Germany. Plies his trade with Bayer Leverkusen, and Radetzky there having to earn his call for Finland. Second corner for Denmark, who just tried to crank up the pressure. Eriksen puts it towards the far post. It goes behind, but the referee had already blown for some pushing, and Christian Eriksen, who actually played that corner out of play, is going to get a second bite of the cherry.
Yeah, what they're trying to do here, because the Finns mark man to man, so they're just trying to drag him all over the place. At this minute, they've taken everyone basically on the goal line. There's about, how many players? 15 players on that goal line now as this ball is coming in.
Eriksson, right-footed towards the goalkeeper, headed away at the near post by Poyapalo. Eriksson keeps it alive, and Daniel Vass now with a right-footed delivery from the left corner of the area. It was helped on by Paulsen, but helped wide. It's going to be a goal kick for Finland. And let's get the full-time report from the rugby. Exeter against Sale Sharks. Andrew McKenna.
It's finished Exeter 20, Sale 19. It means that Exeter's win gets them a home semi-final next weekend against the Sale Sharks. The Sharks came absolutely flying at this one. They scored 3 tries, but they had to get 4 and a win to deny Exeter a home game. They weren't able to do it. Perhaps the most significant moments of this game, Sam Skinner sent off for Exeter 13 minutes into the second half. Realistically, it means his season is over with the ban that would follow, but AJ McGinty was stretched off in the dying seconds of the game for the Sale Sharks, their playmaker. Looks like ligaments for him, and that is a massive, massive blow with what's to come. They also lost Cam Neal to the injury today, so they've given it a go. They put out a strong team, but at what cost? That'll be the question for the Sale Sharks. Exeter home semi, though, they've won 20 points to 19.
Here's Brathwaite inside the Finnish penalty area. Ball just bounces off his right foot and behind for a goal kick. Really open start to the game, David Conley.
Yeah, and I tell you what, whenever the ball goes into the front, the Danes look really bright, don't they? Nice little step over there from Eriksson into Brathwaite, spun it round the corner, and the return pass was a little bit too heavy, but they look so sharp in and around the box.
Denmark competing at their 9th European Championship, their first since 2012. And have the ball inside the centre circle with Simon Kerr, their vastly experienced captain, his 108th appearance for his country. Here's Paulsen in the yellow boots, wins it high up the field. Hubier to Brathwaite, little layoff to Paulsen. Just beginning to find their groove here. Mailer attacking down the left-hand side into the penalty area. Cross-come shot blocked by Tim Sparv, the Finland captain. And a foul by Hubier on Poyapalo. It's a free kick for Finland.
Yeah, when we spoke in the start with Russ about how the Finnish are going to have to defend an awful lot to a man, and they've just got them under a lot of pressure here. Denmark can't quite get out at this moment in time, and it's going to be a tough game for them. There's no doubt they look really bright. Denmark really bright.
Well, there were incredible scenes when Finland secured qualification for this tournament. 10,000 supporters spilling onto the pitch after they beat Liechtenstein in Helsinki. The recent form isn't great, though. No wins since beating Bulgaria in the Nations League back in November. 4 defeats and 2 draws since then. As I mentioned during half-time in the rugby, they were beaten by Estonia in a warm-up match in preparation for their group campaign. Not exactly a confidence boost.
No, and obviously look, the Danes, what have they lost? 2 in 28, both against Belgium, so that's the sort of standard, the calibre of team they're up against here.
A lot of people fancy that Denmark could be one of the lesser talked about sides. We go deep into the draw, though. They were saying that about Turkey before last night. They got a rude awakening live on Talksport, the opening game in Rome. Italy, comfortable winners, and really sending out a message on opening night. Here is Hubier, Denmark trying to do the same in front of their own loud and vociferous supporters, and it's played forward to Eriksson inside the penalty area, right-footed shot. Good block by Arayuri. It's going to come straight back again. Mailer down that left-hand side, little step over to find some space inside the penalty area, cuts it back for Delaney, room to cross in towards Finn with a header, couldn't get it on target. And it remains Denmark 0, Finland 0.
Yeah, just relying on good defending in and around their box now, the finish. A couple of little blocks they've got on it, and that time, little dink ball to the back post, Win trying to get ahead on it. That's what they need to do, Finland, just get nice and tight man mark. Try and put the likes of Vind off, but immediately they just keep giving the ball away.
And here's Brathwaite. If you keep doing that, you will get punished. Brathwaite linking up with Mailer. Cross blocked behind by a corner by Toivio this time. 0-0 on Talksport 2. Don't forget, coming up later, our third commentary of the day live on Talksport. Belgium, the world number ones against Russia. Mark Saggers in the chair for that one. Jim Proudfoot and Stuart Pearce, your commentary team in England. Underway tomorrow, 2 o'clock, live on Talksport. They take on Croatia at Wembley. Denmark had their third corner of the opening 13 minutes. Eriksson to the far post, but it's grabbed from the air by Radetzky. Did bounce it down inside the 6-yard box, which was a bit risky. In the end, Radetzky has been given a free kick after an obstruction as he looked to bowl that out by Brathwaite. I think Brathwaite's a bit unlucky really, he almost chucked it against his head.
Yeah, and I think more concerning for Finland is obviously Radetzky, just every time the ball's come near him, you know, he hasn't claimed anything really cleanly, so it's always bounced around him. Looks a little bit nervous, to be honest, and obviously this really bright start from Denmark is maybe just not the confidence of Finland.
That's Teemu Pukki, who scored 10 of the 16 goals that Finland netted in qualifying. Such an integral player. That's why there's doubts about his fitness with an ankle injury, but such a cause for alarm. They've got a free kick here.
It's Christensen here,
on
just
the left-hand
in.
side, Christensen on Kamara.
I think it was a foul. I don't know what he's complaining about there, Christensen. He's right by the touchline. There's no real need to go to ground on Kamara. He does that. He's obviously conceded a free kick.
Had a good season with Rangers, Glenn Kamara, helping them to their first SPL title in a decade. And labelled a Rolls Royce by Steven Gerrard. It was him who was upended by the slide tackle from Christensen. The free kick will be played in by Robin Lurd, left-footed delivery. They aren't the tallest team, Finland, and it's headed away by Delaney on the edge of the area, collected by the diminutive Kamara. Plays it back into the Finnish half away to our right. 0-0 in this all-Nordic affair. Denmark against Finland. Denmark haven't lost at home to their Scandinavian rivals since way back in 1949. Here's Daniel Vass down the right-hand side for the Danes. Just slowing the game down to a walking pace. Christian Eriksen will drop deep into midfield and plays it a few yards to his left-hand side, and Christensen. Now Mæhle will take over. A lot of the Danish players seem to be wearing the luminous blue footwear. Maybe got a bulk sponsorship deal. Here's Daniel Vass, the versatile Valencia man, playing on the right-hand side of back four this afternoon. Eriksen again picks it up midway inside Finnish territory. Gets it back from Vass, Eriksen. They're going to pull the strings. The former Tottenham man. Deep cross into the area this time, and it's Højbjerg with a header. That's a really good one-handed save by Radetzky. Well, he's not renowned for his goal-scoring, Pierre Højbjerg, but he couldn't have met that cross much more cleanly, and a really good save to tip it over the crossbar by Radetzky.
Yeah, I mean, he had to make it. It was fairly comfortable, I think. It's right above his head, but good move again from Denmark. Ball comes to Eriksen. He's just encouraging his players just to get in between the lines so he can try and break a line and give it to someone in a bit of danger. Good ball into the box. Great run from Højbjerg from deep, but a good save.
And Christian Eriksen has come across the right-hand side this time to take the corner. And nodded away again by Puljapalo. Having to work overtime at the back here, Finland, but Pukki is off on a charge forward to try and lead the counter-attack. Poulsen looking to stop him one way or another. He did really well actually to make a clean challenge and come away with a ball. Josef Poulsen on this Danish right-hand side. Højbjerg looking for Brathwaite, and he's picked up by the blonde-haired Arayuri. 0-0 with 16 minutes gone on Talksport 2. Alex Cook and David Connolly calling the action. It's already been a terrific tournament, isn't it? Italy with that victory last night, really impressing, and then Wales with a 1-1 draw against Switzerland earlier today on Talksport, getting their group campaign off to a positive beginning. Denmark looking to do that here. Vass down the right-hand side, looking to release Brathwaite. He was fouled by Arayuri. I don't think he was going to get there anyway, so the referee Anthony Taylor plays on.
Well, it looks like, obviously, they're pretty fluid, aren't they, this front three?
Well, Poulsen's at the tip of the three at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, at times we saw him play that position against Germany, and he scored a really good goal, but Brathwaite at times starts on the right, comes over to the left, and vice versa, then he's down through the middle, so very fluid, really mobile, isn't it, that front three? A lot of running in there.
And I guess the issue for Denmark is that Teemu Pukki constantly is having to drop very deep to pick up the ball almost in the centre of midfield, because they haven't been able to get any service to him in and around the penalty area where he can be at his most deadly.
No, and obviously if he's going to travel from deep, he hasn't really got the blistering pace to get away from you. We just saw that there where the Danes recovered the ball, Pukki breaking, so...
Still we await the first goal of the afternoon. Here is Kamara for Finland, over the halfway line, full of energy, comes over to the left-hand side and rolls it forward to Uren in the left wing-back. Kamara gets it back, can't navigate his way beyond Højbjerg, and in the end has conceded a cheap throw, which Denmark will take 10 yards shy of their own 18-yard marker. Lost their last 3 matches, Finland, for the first time since November 2016. As well as that defeat against Estonia. They went down to Sweden as well in the build-up to this tournament. Well, their coach, the former schoolmaster Marco Kanerva, insists they're not here just to make up the numbers. He thinks they can cause an upset and get out of the group. Here is Brathwaite, right corner of the Finland area. Eriksson being urged to shoot, does so, and it's another good save. Down low to his right to beat the ball away by Radetzky. That one was travelling from Christian Eriksson, who had far too much time on the edge of the penalty area.
Yeah, it's because they're so deep, Finland. I mean, they just retreated back towards their own goals. He had plenty of time and space to try and pick his spot. He's ambitious, though. He's on the right-hand corner of the box. It's got to be something special. I think from there, it's probably got to have height on it. Arrowing towards that top corner, he didn't really. It was sort of fairly comfortable save, really. Chest height for Radetzky, but certainly he's the busier goalkeeper, that's for sure.
And Finland won't need to be told that Christian Eriksson is the Danish danger man since the qualifying campaign for the 2018 World Cup. He's been responsible for 45% of the goals that they've scored, Christian Eriksson. And he's thriving in the space that he's getting in behind the lone striker this afternoon, but it remains goalless. Daniel Vass with a quick free kick, too quick. Couldn't find anyone in a red shirt, and it swells out of play over on the far side, down by the right corner flag for a Finland throw.
He's been a little bit loose, hasn't he, Vass, in possession a couple of times, giving the ball away. There's this strike again from Eriksson. Lovely technique. Just darring on the diagonal to that far corner. As I said, it was a comfortable save, though.
Well, welcome listeners from Talksport. Denmark 0, Finland 0, 20 minutes played, but Lukas Radetzky already making a couple of excellent saves, denying Christian Eriksson with a shot from the edge of the penalty area, and Tottenham's Pierre-Emil Højbjerg with a header from point-blank range. At the moment, David Connolly, Finland really struggling to get Teemu Pukki, their main danger man, on the ball.
Yeah, they are. I mean, they're just basically sat on the edge of their box. Very difficult to get out at this moment in time. I think the Danes have started really bright, even from the kick-off. They had 7 players ready to flood forward, and it's been a really good start from Denmark.
Here's Poulsen down by the left corner flank, dispossessed by Robin Laird, who's already been booked, and Finland now will try and counter. Try and release Teemu Pukki, but it was a wayward pass and easily intercepted by Simon Kjær, the Denmark captain. 21 minutes played. Denmark 0, Finland 0. Denmark dominating the ball. Finland having to soak up an awful lot of pressure in the first quarter of this game. A humid afternoon in Copenhagen. Here down the left-hand side for Denmark is Joachim Mæhle. Not Poulsen. That hair tied in a bun, chipped forward by Delaney and almost came for Brathwaite. I think he was content actually to let it skim past his foot and out for a corner, having taken a nick off a Finland defender. 5 corners already for Denmark, David.
Yeah, this time it's an outswinger, so a couple of times Radetzky's really struggled with those in-swingers. He hasn't claimed them cleanly, and again Denmark put a player on him. It looks like, I don't know if it's Christensen at this moment in time, but there's a player on him that obviously just trying to put him off, and his handling hasn't been great, so I imagine the tactic is put it on top of him again.
Eriksson again with a corner. This time it's an outswinger, and it comes for Delaney, who volleys it left-footed over the bar. So much time and space there for Thomas Delaney, but didn't really get a true strike on the ball. That's twice. Sails over the woodwork.
Yeah, it's twice now though, Alex. You know, he's got 3 at the back post from a corner. Really poor marking from the Finns, and really simple delivery, just flighted to that back post on the half wall. It's a difficult skill on his left leg, but he skews it wide. More concerning, I think, for Finn will be that's twice now from corners. He's completely free, only about 12 yards out.
At the moment it feels like a matter of when and not if Denmark take the lead, but here is Jere Jurinen down the left-hand side for Finland again. Can't really pick out a blue-shirted teammate, and Joachim Mæhle carries the ball over the halfway line. The Danish roar goes up again. Here is Delaney, fresh from that recent sighter at goal. Mæhle stamped it out to the left-hand side, and Martin Brathwaite, what an interesting career he's had. Didn't really work out for him at Middlesbrough. 8 goals in 36 games. Got that shock move to Barcelona. Not sure he'll be there much longer, but at least you can say he's pulled on the shirt. Oh, Pukki there has seized on an error from Simon Kjær. Then there's a bit of a grappling match between the two. I think Simon Kjær just about managed not to foul Teemu Pukki. Atones for his error. And I think really highlighting the point that David Conley was making, Pukki there, about his lack of pace, because a quicker player would have been away and through on goal.
Yeah, I mean, Kjær's a lucky boy here, because he just switches off. He allows the ball to bounce right in front of him, and Pukki nips in, heads it around him, but someone with a bit more explosive pace would have just shrugged him off and then been away. But actually Kjær was just allowed to get back at him because he didn't quite have that speed. He's a lucky boy though, Kjær, because he did have a couple of pulls back at him and
not enough
probably
to persuade Anthony Taylor to give the free kick. I mean, he could have been in trouble had the decision have gone the other way.
It was a warning sign though for the Danes, because they're basically 1v1 there at the back. There was no cover. Christensen was caught high.
I never thought I'd say it, but it's a nice moment to see a Mexican wave breaking out over on the far side. We've not seen that at sporting events too much in the last 18 months. Long throw from Finland into the penalty area. Two competing for the same ball there, and Harry Yuri up from the back, and Poyapalo almost got in each other's way. And the referee stopping play because there was a head injury. I think it's Delaney down inside the box, and it will be a free kick for a foul given against Joel Poyapalo, a Bayer Leverkusen striker.
Well, look, I think Delaney is absolutely fine here. The issue you've got, obviously we've had a few concussions and we've seen that in the Premier League, haven't we? Raul Jimenez, for example, challenges, but not every challenge in the air should be stopped if a player goes down. You know, because Finland are going to put the ball in the box from out wide, from long throws, etc. And the Danes know if they go to ground and clutch their head, if the referee's going to pull it back every time, well, it stops one of the Finns' threats.
25 minutes gone. You're listening to Talksport 2 and our coverage of Euro 2020. Denmark 0, Finland 0. We've got the second game from Group B coming up later, live on Talksport. Belgium against Russia. Fascinating to see what sort of a start Belgium make to their campaign. Here's Højbjerg winning it back high up the field for Denmark, releasing Brathwaite down the left. Brathwaite into the penalty area, might get a shot away, fires it wide. Maybe would have been better served looking up and cutting it across the penalty area. For a moment he saw his name in lights and couldn't get it on target.
Yeah, good counter-attack though, fed well by Højbjerg. He just pulled out onto this left-hand side, and we've spoken about that fluidity of this front three. At times it's been Poulsen on the left, Vind, that time it was Brathwaite, took it down onto his left leg but didn't quite twist his hips enough and missed fairly comfortably at the near post. Poor finish from him really, you've got to at least hit the target there.
His speed though has been a problem for the Finnish defence down their right hand side. Eriksson stabs it out to the left, and Delaney, but once he didn't execute the pass cleanly. Christian Eriksen had a really good second half of the season at Inter Milan in Serie A. He was on the transfer list as recently as January, and he will very much be the talisman for this Denmark team. 8 shots already from the host, 3 on target. Finland yet to have a shot in anger in this game, and they soak up an awful lot of early pressure. Delaney there with a mistimed tackle on Jono Toivio. Will be a free kick in the right back position. Toivio has stayed down, David Conley.
Yeah, it's a little bit rash here from Delaney. I think he's trying to atone for his earlier misplaced pass, so he chases after the ball. It's a clumsy foul.
Denmark have only reached the knockout stages once since they won the Euros back in 1992. That was a quarter-final appearance in 2004. A lot of experts expect them to do much better. Doesn't look the strongest group if you discount Belgium. Not sure Russia are the team they were at the World Cup 3 years ago. Many of their big names retiring. Although like Denmark, they do have home advantage. Russia playing their games in St. Petersburg. 11 cities being used for this very unique championship. It's played long by Lukas Radecki, the Finland goalkeeper. Flicked forward by Chelsea's Andreas Christensen. And headed down by Spar, the Finnish captain. Little slip in midfield from Lerd allows Delaney to win it back.
This is my point, Alex. There's an aerial challenge on Pukki and he's holding his head, but because the ball is in the middle of the park, Anthony Taylor just lets play go on. So you can't have it both ways. You really can't. And obviously then the Danes kick it out in a very sporting manner, but ultimately this is where sometimes I think the rule is amiss, and it's just Christensen with a little flailing arm does catch Pukki, does hold his face.
I think in fairness the left arm is out because he's trying to keep his balance. It was quite an awkward right-footed clearance that Christensen was making. I'm not sure he really knew that Pukki was there, but Pukki certainly felt the force of that one. The Norwich City front man, 30 goals for his country, 2 behind Jari Litmanen as their all-time leading goal scorer.
Well, Tim Sparvey just talking to his manager, obviously just probably saying to him about trying to get a little bit more pressure on the ball. The problem with putting more pressure on the ball is then the Danes can play around you, they've got that ability, but when the Finns are playing out from the back, they haven't really got anything on. They don't want to risk the ball into the middle of the park, so when they go back to front, they don't have the height to really win a flick on and possess the ball, so it's really difficult for them at this moment in time to get a foothold in the game.
He looks very schoolmastering, doesn't he, Marko Kanerva? Spent 12 years as Finland's under-21 coach, 2 caretaker spells as their first team manager before winning the job on a permanent basis. Kasper Hjulman, his opposite number, much more relaxed in his attire, white shirt unbuttoned, black trousers and white trainers. He was brought in primarily to change the way that Denmark play. They were quite a pragmatic team before Hjulman came in, more expansive now, 14 goals already in qualifying for the World Cup, and here is Delaney looking to add the first goal at this tournament, and he's trying to find Poulsen at the far post again. It wasn't great from Radetzky, colliding with his own defender. Wasn't commanding enough for me, the Finland goalkeeper. I think he's really struggled in the opening 30 minutes of this game.
Yeah, I mean, he's waiting for that ball to reach him, when really he's got to go and try and meet the ball much sooner. Nice little delivery into the box.
Needed a shout, didn't he? Jere Jurinen didn't know his goalkeeper was coming, and in the end we're a bit fortunate because that could be handball as well from Jurinen as he collapsed on top of the ball inside the 6-yard box. He's still down. VAR will be checking this. They're based at UEFA's headquarters in Nyon for this tournament, and as Jurinen waits to receive treatment, it does give us an opportunity, David, just to clear up the new handball regulations that will be implemented in this tournament. Only 3 ways in which a handball can be awarded. 1, if it's deliberate. 2, if you score with your arm, either directly or immediately after the ball has touched your arm. What that means is that if your teammate handles the ball in the build-up to a goal, but you put it in, that will be a goal. That's a change in the regulations we've seen in the Premier League this season. And in terms of defenders giving away penalties, if you make yourself unnaturally bigger, or a player is considered to have made himself unnaturally bigger when the position of the hand or the arm is not justifiable by their body movement, that will be a penalty. What do you make of those rule changes?
Well, thank you for that. Yes, subtle, yeah. And improved, I think, that's for sure. But just going back to the goalkeeper, all eyes are on him, because obviously, although he clattered into his centre half, I mean, he hasn't got the biggest sort of frame, has he, Radetzky, so he's quite slight for a goalkeeper, and any time there's any sort of contact, he never really seems to hang on to the ball. And what they do on goal kicks, they like to drop one of the centre halves into the 6-yard box, and he just plays it to him to go a little bit longer. As it is now, he's taken command finally, and they're going to go from back to front, but this never really sticks. They've got the 2 big centre halves, the Danes at the back, Christensen and Kjaer, so this is food and drink for them really, Delaney as well.
I was good use of my morning coffee break, just swatting up on the latest rule change. There seems about 75 every season at the moment. Here's Eriksson attacking down the left-hand side. Jurinen seems to have recovered from that blow that he took from his own goalkeeper. Finland back up to their full 11. Still goalless here on Talksport 2 with 13 minutes gone. The opening game in Group B early today on Talksport. It finished Switzerland 1, Wales 1. Kiefer Moore with the equaliser for Wales, getting their Euros off to a decent start. Delaney finds Mailer down the left-hand side. Little link up between those two. Mailer tries to cut the cross back, deflected behind for another Danish corner. Certainly all of the pressure being applied at the end away to our right on the Finland goal, and Christian Eriksen again will take the corner. Still a really vibrant atmosphere. Plenty of red shirts forward to attack this delivery from the left-hand side. Christian Eriksen has had plenty of time to work out what he wants to do. You can hear the wolf whistles of the Finnish fans. Eriksen towards the near post, towards Kerr this time. Cleared only as far as Eriksen again. And he will try and work space for a cross. Now there's a Finland player down holding his face. And I think they've cottoned onto this, David. You're right that Anthony Taylor is going to stop the game.
Yeah,
I'm not sure there was much in that either.
No, I don't think there is, and this is where the game is going to get ruined, this rule. I think it was pretty clear, in that first few minutes where there was that challenge in the box and Anthony Taylor brought it back because the player was down. I think it was Delaney holding his face, but not every challenge in the air for player goes down. You cannot keep stopping the game.
Just interrupts the flow, doesn't it? We're watching a replay now. Christensen again involved. Daniel O'Shaughnessy is the Finnish player who very theatrically put his hands over his face.
I'm sure there's a bit of contact, Alex, but it's...
Well, he used to play for Braintree Town.
Wow, there you go.
I'm not sure he would have reacted quite that way. Maybe we're being harsh. He also played 49 games for Cheltenham, Daniel O'Shaughnessy. Won't surprise you to know that he has an Irish father with that surname. He's actually the only player in the starting 11 for Finland currently playing in the domestic league for HJK Helsinki, and he's still down here. I think there's some smelling salts out. Those Finland fans behind the goal making plenty of noise. One right at the front of the stand banging on a drum.
Well, they're close neighbours also in Northern Europe, but they're quite close in this stand as well. I mean, side by side, good atmosphere here.
It's great to see, isn't it? It's great to see.
I think they'll be really... If they could get into half-time, 0-0, first major finals, up against, obviously, the Danes, who are, on paper, far superior. And they've been superior in this first, 35 minutes. I think they'll be really pleased, just whether they can see it through the next 10 minutes.
We've just got a shot on our monitor here in London of a Finnish fan with a cut-out mitre football that he's wearing as a hat, and he's clapping a giant owl.
Well, the nickname is what, the Eagle Owls?
It is, yes. Yeah. That owl landed on the crossbar against Belgium back in 2007. That's what we want to see. That's what we've missed, isn't it? The sights and sounds of major tournament football. Here's Christian Eriksen to say this Euros has got off to a fantastic start across the Talksport network. Deep cross towards Poulsen, taken cleanly this time by Radetzky. He jumped into the crowd to down the supporters' point, Radetzky, after they secured qualification against Liechtenstein.
Well, he just tried to play short there and play out, but there was nothing really on. So again, he's gone long, and Højbjerg just easily mops that up, and immediately Denmark have got the ball back.
Daniel Vaz plays it forward to Poulsen. Dispossessed by O'Shaughnessy. And Teemu Pukki here again, trying to put Kerr under pressure, and just from his hassling and his harrying there, his endeavour wins a throw-in.
Well, what they do, the Danes, especially the fullbacks, they like to bomb on, don't they? And they venture forward. There is a few little gaps down the sides, and a couple of times the Finns have had a bit of joy there, hitting the ball down in behind him. That's exactly what happened there. Kerr got across, it was a poor touch, and it's gone out for a throw.
O'Shaughnessy gives it away. Højbjerg picks it up on halfway for Denmark. Finds Poulsen down the right. Poulsen with a cross into the area. Then trying to turn and get a shot away here. Blocked on the edge of the 6-yard box. Still falls kindly for Eriksen, but showed a bit too much of that. To Uranen. Gets the cross in belatedly. Eriksen, it's a flying header away from Jukka Raitala, the right wing back. 0-0 between Denmark and Finland. 37 minutes played on Talksport 2. Alex Crook and David Conley, your commentary team. And that looked like a foul by Robin Laird on Thomas Delaney, the two number 8s colliding. In the end, though, it's a Finland throw. It will be taken by O'Shaughnessy. And we've seen already you can get plenty of distance on these dead balls. Well, Left-sided central defender. Gets it back from Kamara. Not sure he really wanted it, but still manages to find Raitala inside the centre circle. Raitala looking to get away from Brathwaite. In the end, won back by Joachim Mæhle. And he plays it against Pukki and out for a throw midway inside the Denmark half.
Well, they can't keep it for any real sustained period, can they, the Finns? A couple of passes, one or two, and then they give it away. I agree with you. That little switch of play I don't think was intended. They got away with it, but then one pass later, they're giving it away.
Don't forget, England get their Euros underway tomorrow, live on Talksport, 2 o'clock kickoff as they take on Croatia at Wembley. A repeat of the World Cup semi-final on Monday. I'll be at Hampden alongside Chris Iwelumo for Scotland against the Czech Republic. First time in 23 long years that Scotland have been represented at a major tournament. That's a 2 o'clock kickoff here on Talksport. Worth reminding you that you can listen to every single game of the championships, all 51 of them, either on Talksport or on Talksport 2. What a feast of football to come over the next 4 weeks or so, and I think it's been a good game here, despite the lack of goals, David.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they just turned the ball over there, Finland. Pukki trying to pick out a pass, and I think it was Eriksson the ball fell to, trying to pick out Braithwaite with a more ambitious passing behind, but they gave it away. And I think maybe in and around the box the Danes have looked good just in this middle third. They could move the ball a little bit quicker, a bit more crisp.
Olbia clipping it forward, looking for Brathwaite, headed away by Toivio. I sense Finland are quite happy for the ball to just be launched long into the penalty area. Eriksson rolls it out to the left, bit more subtlety in this move. Delaney forward to Vind on the edge of the area. 1-2 with Brathwaite. Brathwaite with a shot, right footed, curls it wide.
Yeah, it's unlucky. You can see what he's trying to do, playing off that left-hand side, get it onto his right leg and bend it into that far corner. Did the first part right, you know, in terms of creating a little pocket of space, but just didn't then bring the ball back towards the post enough, and it's a good 4 or 5 yards wide in the end.
Your prediction before the game was that Denmark would win without conceding. It's not looking a bad shout. 40 minutes in, Finland yet to have a shot on goal. Denmark creating all the opportunities, but really only 2 meaningful saves from Radetzky. The effort from the edge of the area by Eriksson and the header from Højbjerg tipped over the bar.
Yeah.
That will probably disappoint Kasper Hjulmand. Well, they call the Danish Pep.
Going back to the other Kasper Schmeichel, I mean, has he touched the ball? I don't think he has in this first 45. Maybe once or twice, that's about it.
Pukki with a little flick on, looking for Poyapalo, but he would have been offside anyway. And there is the green-shirted Schmeichel, just bowls it out to the edge of the area. And Simon Kjær, the captain for Denmark, 0-0 with 5 minutes to play here on Talksport 2. And here's Daniel Vass down the Denmark right-hand side. Finland with everybody back behind the ball, very compact.
Yeah, what they like to do as well, I mean, the fullback pushes on, and they do a few things, Denmark, that Man City do, for example, like a fullback might invert and come in field as a midfielder, and then Delaney goes out to be the fullback. So there's a couple of those little sort of rotations that they do, which is quite innovative, I guess. They've seen it, done it, it works quite well. They've got Delaney out there now as a sort of fullback, and then the fullback comes in field, so just trying to overload them in the middle of the park.
He's renowned, Kasper Hjulmand, for being a real student of the game. Had to retire at the age of 26. He spent a year studying how Germany and Liverpool play, hence the comparisons with some of the super coaches. Daniel Vass there, trying to get on the end of a cross into the penalty. I think probably would have been penalised for a foul anyway on Arajuri, just using his back as leverage. It's punted long by Radetzky, the Finland goalkeeper, but picked up by Vass now. Right hand side, looking at Paulson again, he's given it away. Sparv with the yellow captain's armband halfway up his left bicep, wins it back. And it's chipped forward by Finland to Jarmo Pukki. Can't make it stick though. It's been a largely frustrating opening 42 minutes for him.
Yeah, he's just got to get hold of the ball. He hasn't really seen it much. The ball goes into him. He's the main man, the front man. Just get hold of it. Take 2 touches. He takes one. Little first time laugh, gives it away, but they've got it back here. One thing I have noticed about the Finns, without being too unkind, is they could do toughening up a little bit, basically. Any sort of contact, they go to ground and complain. They've just got to be a bit more streetwise and firm up.
Here's Højbjerg for Denmark, looking for Eriksson inside the penalty area. Across comes Arajuri and smashes the ball into the stand over on the left-hand side. Throw-in taken quickly by Mæhle. And then Eriksson has taken a tumble off the ball.
That was very unusual. Oh my goodness me.
Well, this does not look good at all for Christian Eriksson. It was a throw-in on the left-hand side, and Christian Eriksson has collapsed in a heap, and you could see the concern on the Denmark players immediately calling over the medical staff. And he's still down here, Christian Eriksson, and he looks unconscious.
I mean, this is really troubling. The ball's come from a throw-in, and he's actually kneed it back to the taker, but then he's just collapsed face down on the floor. Now he's on his side, and
well, the stretcher is coming on, but this is a really unsavoury sight. Christian Eriksson seemingly out cold. Kasper Hjulmand, the Denmark coach, looking on with concern. And you could usually tell, David Connolly, by the reaction of the players.
Oh, this is really troubling. Obviously, for everybody here concerned, that the stadium has just fallen deathly silent, and you're just hoping that the medical staff here can do their job. They've just ushered the players away. Obviously, can they focus on Christian here and just make sure that he's...
I'm just looking at the expression of Paulus Ariuri, shielding his face with his hands. Christian Eriksson still stricken on the turf, still motionless. He's getting an ovation from the Denmark supporters. It was such an innocuous incident, and Christian Eriksson is being given CPR. Well, this is absolutely horrific. The Denmark players can barely watch as Christian Eriksson is being resuscitated on the pitch in Copenhagen. Well, this is a very troubling sight indeed. The Denmark players to a man surrounding Christian Eriksson. And I think the supporters now are just beginning to realise the seriousness, David Connolly, of this incident.
Oh. Let's pray for Christian here.
And the Finland fans as well.
Come on, just pray for Christian. Come on, Christian.
Kasper Schmeichel is having to console his Denmark teammates. Kasper Hjulmand is down on his haunches. But this is a major incident at the start of the European Championships. And big concern here for Christian Eriksson, who is being resuscitated on the pitch, and he's been down for a long time.
Our thoughts are with Christian. Come on, Christian.
And there are Denmark players with tears in their eyes. Anthony Taylor doesn't quite know how to react to this. I've never experienced anything quite like this.
Come on, Christian. Obviously the medical staff are doing their job. Come on. He's got his teammates around him.
Well, the referee Anthony Taylor is in deep conversation with both coaches. They're going to have to call off the game. That goes without saying.
Come on, medical staff, fingers crossed. They've got to him in time.
Well, they were very quickly on the scene.
We've had this before, haven't we, in terms of players? We know that in the past. Fabrice Muamba, for example. And
well, luckily that story had a relatively happy ending. But big concern here for Christian Eriksson. Thomas Delaney in tears, the Denmark number 8. Some of the supporters are in tears as well. And what started as a carnival occasion in Copenhagen has very quickly descended into a very disturbing scene involving Christian Eriksson. Our thoughts and prayers are with him and his family. And there are supporters having to be consoled in the stands here. And Christian Eriksson is still receiving CPR, and he has been for several minutes. David, you're in shock. I'm in shock.
Well, the medical staff here, we're just praying for Christian here, that the medical people there, they're obviously doing the chest compressions, and they're just able to get his heart going again. And I imagine there'll be an ambulance here soon.
There's a second stretcher just being brought onto the pitch. The Finland coach Markku Kanerva is deep in conversation with one or two of his players. I mean, they look shell-shocked as well. It's very difficult to put into words exactly what we're witnessing at the moment. The grimace on the face of Kasper Hjulmand, the Denmark coach. And again, from such an innocuous incident, it was a throw-in over on that left-hand side, and Christian Eriksen, with nobody near him, just collapsed. And you could see straight away, David Conley, I could tell by your reaction, you knew it was a very serious incident.
Well, it's unfortunate. I mean, it's so difficult to put into words. In my own father, he had a heart attack. So I feel that the pain of all these Danish fans, Danish players, we're just praying for Christian here that he can come through this. As traumatic it is for everyone, obviously we want Christian, we need this to happen for Christian. Medical staff, come on, do your job, can you do it as best you can and help Christian get his heart going again, get him off to hospital, breathing, hopefully get recovered. But this is obviously so traumatic for everyone involved, but we're just thinking of Christian and his family and his teammates, his friends.
And the Denmark players still watching on as Christian Eriksen continues to receive treatment on the pitch. The Finland players have come over to their technical area on this near side. Tears in the eyes of fans from both countries. And it's very difficult to see where we go from here. Kasper Hjulmand has still been in conversation with Anthony Taylor. One or two of the Denmark players have come over to their manager, Kasper Hjulmand, Pierre Højbjerg. Amongst those, he's just put his hands on his head. And the incident took place right in front of those Finland fans over on the far side of the ground.
Well, as soon as it happened, his teammates around him immediately signalled to the side, and I don't think the medical staff could have got on any quicker. And obviously he's got his teammates here just forming a bit of a shield for his own privacy, I guess. And
well, this is an absolutely horrendous incident. And we reiterate all our thoughts with Christian Eriksen, with his friends, with his family, and with both sets of players and supporters. It's a very harrowing incident for them. The game will have to be called off, no question about that. And we just hope that those medics who've been working tirelessly on Christian Eriksen have been able to get there in time. Denmark supporters praying for their talisman, and this is one of those incidents where football really doesn't matter, does it?
No, obviously we're just thinking of Christian here, praying for him to pull through. We're hoping. And obviously the length of this indicates the severity of this, that Christian is still on his back, receiving chest compressions. The last time we saw, which was probably a minute ago, he was still receiving chest compressions. We haven't seen that since, but
Kasper Hjulmand is slowly making his way over towards where Christian Eriksen is still being treated, with a cluster of Danish players just shielding their teammate, offering him some privacy. There are more medical staff arriving as well. It's difficult to know quite what Casper Hjulmand can say, David Connolly, to console his players at this moment.
No, there's not a lot. Obviously you're there united, obviously just thinking of your teammate and just praying and hoping that he comes through. That's all they're thinking about. Come on, Christian.
Casper Hjulmand is just trying to make some sense of it all. He's walking back over to the technical area, Casper Hjulmand, as Christian Eriksen continues to be treated by the medical staff. Not the afternoon they were expecting, not the afternoon that anybody was expecting. As we welcome listeners from Talksport, very disturbing scenes in Copenhagen. Christian Eriksen having collapsed on the pitch, has needed CPR, has been treated by the medical staff for several minutes now. Casper Hjulmand, the Denmark manager, still in conversation with Anthony Taylor. And it looks as if the wife of Christian Eriksen, I assume it's his wife, has been welcomed onto the pitch now. She's being consoled by Kasper Schmeichel and Simon Kjær, the captain. And these are very harrowing scenes. I think you can hear in our voices that David Connolly and I are emotional. The Finland players are leaving the pitch. This game will not be completed today. That almost irrelevant. And all our thoughts and prayers, everybody at Talksport sends them out to Christian Eriksen and his families. It seems his wife or partner has come out onto the pitch. David Connolly, what can we say?
We just pray for Christian here and think of him and his family and everyone in the football world. I know be praying for him. And I guess the only parallel you can try and think of that I can recall is Fabrice Muamba. Obviously it was 2012, I think it was, who suffered a cardiac arrest, and it's so difficult from here to say that is what Christian has suffered, but that's what it appears from here. He fell like a tree. He got a throw on, he kneed it back, and he just collapsed onto the ground, and you can just hear the Danish fans, the Finnish fans, they're just urging Christian to be better here. Can they get his heart pumping? He has received chest compressions for a number of minutes now, which you can only assume is because of, I guess it might be a cardiac arrest, we don't know. Let's just pray for Christian that he is.
Well, Christian Eriksen, I think, is about to be carried off the pitch. The referee Anthony Taylor and his English assistants are all making their way back to the dressing room area. Gary Bessick and Adam Nunn. There are white blankets being held either side of where Christian Eriksen has been treated, and he is now leaving the pitch on a stretcher. Rapturous applause from both sets of supporters, and just to echo what David Connolly was saying, they will be praying, we are praying that this is not as serious as it seems, but Christian Eriksen, with his Denmark players standing around him, is being carried now down to the tunnel, down to the dressing room area. Kasper Schmeichel in his all-green goalkeeping jersey is just racing to join them. Christian Eriksen's name is being sung by both sets of supporters in Copenhagen. But very harrowing scenes towards the end of the first half here between Denmark and Finland. And once again we pray for Christian Eriksen that he will be able to make a full recovery. The pitch has now been cleared of players and officials. I guess we have to wait for official confirmation from UEFA, David, but there's no way this game can carry on.
No, and all we're thinking about now, obviously the listeners, everyone around the world, the players here, supporters in the stadium, is for Christian, praying for Christian that he can come through this. Obviously we don't know because they had the white screen across as he was being taken off the pitch, but I guess just going back to Fabrice, I think his heart stopped for a long time. It was over 78 minutes, something like that, and obviously Fabrice managed to pull through, but it was obviously Christian there having the chest compressions, the CPR, and we can only assume it is some form of cardiac arrest, and we're just praying for him. I mean, the football world, football family will be thinking of Christian, him and his family. Come on, Christian, you can do this. Come on.
So very disturbing scenes at the end of what started as somewhat of a football carnival. These two Scandinavian neighbours meeting in a major championship for the first time, but clearly whatever we saw in the 40 minutes of football that were played, overshadowed by the sight of Christian Eriksen collapsing and being carried now back to the dressing room area, presumably to hospital. And we pray that he will be able to come through this. And I guess it will be a good time now to hand back to Dan Windle in the studio. Thank you, Dan. Extraordinary scenes on an unprecedented evening as the Denmark and Finland players prepare to restart a game that was put on hold, 90 minutes ago, after Christian Eriksen collapsed on the pitch, needed CPR, needed the defibrillator. But the good news is that Christian Eriksen is stable in hospital. And that news relayed to the fans inside the Parken Stadium, both on the PA system and on the big screen. And it is at the request of the Denmark players that we will play out the final 2.5 minutes of the first half before a 5-minute half-time interval, and then the full second half. One change for Denmark, Mathias Jensen replacing Eriksen, not the circumstances in which he would have wanted to make his competitive debut at a major international tournament, but just watching Kasper Schmeichel as we welcome listeners from Talksport, the way that he was cajoling his teammates as they came back out to a standing ovation from both sets of supporters. There is a determination from the Denmark players not just to conclude this game, but to conclude it with victory for Christian Eriksen. Here is Daniel Vass attacking down the right-hand side. Denmark in the red shirts with the white sleeves, white shorts and red socks, attacking the goal away to our right. It was at that end of the ground where Christian Eriksen departed on a stretcher in front of the Finnish supporters. And we should say, David Conley, that both sets of fans, both sets of players, both sets of coaches, the officials have conducted themselves in really harrowing circumstances absolutely superbly.
Absolutely. And obviously, the players wanted this game to conclude. I'm sure afterwards their thoughts are immediately turned to Christian, but as it is now a couple of minutes to half time, and as you say, everyone from the players and the fans inside chanting Christian's name is in our thoughts and our prayers, that those prayers have been answered, which is wonderful news, because there's no doubt this game wouldn't have continued if obviously the news was any different. So that's wonderful.
It was a really emotional moment just before kick-off. Kasper Hjulmand, the relatively recently appointed Denmark manager, gathered all of his players, all of his subs, all of the backroom staff in a huddle. Obviously we don't know what was said, but clearly messages of upbeat support for Christian Eriksen, and I'd imagine go and win the game for Christian would have been the tone of that pre-returning team talk.
And I guess, look, it's a situation you cannot prepare for, whether you're a player, whether you're a manager, whether you're a broadcaster, and these players will just have to get on and get this job done as best as they can, and obviously move on, and then obviously quickly find out and go and find their teammate, and obviously offering their support, and it gets back obviously healthy better soon.
Well, we've pretty much played the 2.5 minutes that were left over from the end of the first half. Still 0-0 between Denmark and Finland in this opening match in Group B. And it's a throw in for Denmark down their left-hand side, taken by Jakob Mæhle. And Brathwaite coming in from that left touchline to Delaney. One of those players visibly moved to tears by the distressing scenes. It's hard to fathom then that we would be back out completing this match. And we are in now to 2 added minutes at the end of the first half, with Vass on the attack down the Denmark right, loops the ball towards the Finnish penalty area. Finland all in blue, attacking the goal away to our left. There's a foul there by Delaney. It's a Finland free kick and a chance to run you through the two lineups. Schmeichel in goal for Denmark, Vass, Kjær Christensen and Mæhle in defence, Højbjerg and Delaney in front of them, Poulsen, Jensen and Brathwaite behind Jonas Vind up front. Finland have Radetsky in goal, Toivio, Arajuri and O'Shaughnessy in defence, Raitala and Uren in the wing-back, Sparv and Kamara deepest in midfield with Lurd in behind Pukki and Paolo up front. We played one added minute, it's still Denmark 0, Finland 0. Denmark dominating possession, David, as they were before the match was interrupted.
Yeah, obviously Finland can't quite retain the ball, which has been the story, I think, of that first 45. It's just whether Denmark have managed to craft and create any real good opportunities. I know a couple of shots from distance, the goalkeeper managed to handle pretty well. And I think, as we both was talking about in the first half before it was interrupted, I think they would have been content to get in at half-time, Finland 0-0 before regrouping.
Radetsky volleys the ball forward, but only as far as Vass. It's won back though by Jere Uronen, the left wing back for Finland, and here's the captain Tim Sparv, midway inside Finnish territory, away to our right. Finland playing at a major tournament for the first time in their history. Certainly an evening that nobody in the football fraternity will ever forget. There is the half-time whistle. Anthony Taylor having added on 2 extra minutes at the end of the 2.5 that were still to be played, and there will now be a 5-minute interval, a reduced half-time break, and it is Denmark 0, Finland 0. Thank you, Dan. 0-0 between Denmark and Finland on this extraordinary night. And once again, our thoughts and prayers with Christian Eriksen. The Denmark players trying their best to stay focused on the job in hand to try and open their European Championship campaign with victory, and it will be Finland who get us off and underway in this second half, all in blue, attacking the end of the stadium where the 3,000 or so Finnish fans are gathered. Denmark in the red shirts, white sleeves, white shorts and red socks, attacking the goal away to our left and determined to try and win this for their beloved teammate. Here is Mæhle down the left-hand side, linking up once again with Brathwaite. It's been a source of some success over the course of the evening. Brathwaite into the penalty area, Poulsen in the bright yellow boots, crosses, can only find Radetsky at the near post.
Yeah, it's a nice little move though, wasn't it, from Brathwaite, just aiming off this left-hand side, spotted a little diagonal run from Poulsen, who's trying to get the ball back into the box, couldn't quite angle his left boot around it.
Here is Delaney on the edge of the penalty area, goes for goal. Actually ended up catching Paulus Arajuri as he tried to block that shot on the edge of the box. Looks a painful one for the Finland defender. Might well be a free kick. No intent really from Delaney. It's a brave block by Arajuri in the end. The ball sails high over the crossbar.
Yeah, I think it's just Delaney just trying from distance there. Maybe Finland is a little bit guilty of trying to play out. What they have really struggled with is obviously getting from their box to the opposition box. Now, whether they play short, they haven't quite been able to play through the Denmark press, and if they do go from back to front, you know, the likes of Pukki just haven't really been able to retain the ball.
Denmark 0, Finland 0. You're listening to Talksport 2. Alex Crook and David Connolly, your commentary team over on Talksport. They are around about 17 minutes away from kick-off in the other game in this group between Belgium and Russia, and then tomorrow it all gets underway for England. 2 o'clock kick-off on Talksport. Croatia, the visitors to Wembley. A repeat, of course, of the World Cup semi-final. Here's Poulsen for Denmark down the right-hand side, cross blocked behind by O'Shaughnessy for a corner. It's corner number 7 for Denmark, dominating on that particular count, and it will be Mathias Jensen. Of course, Christian Eriksen having taken the other 6 corners, who will take the responsibility.
Well, a lot of Brentford fans will know him. He's had a terrific season now, going to be playing in the Premier League. He has got the ability on set pieces, got wonderful delivery.
It's a corner from the right-hand side. Simon Kjær, the captain, has come forward from the centre of defence. He flicks off his back, still bobbling around inside the penalty area. Brathwaite trying to make something of it, cleared away by Arajuri, and it remains goalless.
Yeah, had all 11 players back there, Finland in their own box defending those corners, and they really haven't defended them convincingly at all, have they, all game? far as the Danes, obviously, every time, just try and put it on top of the goalkeeper. His handling has been suspect, hasn't it, all game so far?
Denmark's next game in the group here against Belgium on Thursday, and finish off against Russia a week on Monday. This does look the most winnable of those fixtures, and they have been the better side without any tangible reward so far. In comes the cross towards Brathwaite, headed behind, this time by Raitala. It will be another corner. The Danish fans roaring their team on.
Yeah, the pressure's just mounting, isn't it, on this Finland goal. Wonderful ball into the back post. Brathwaite was just lurking just in behind his man, but if they've headed it out for a corner, and if I was their main player, just try and keep it on the pitch. Head it out, they can for a throw, but for a corner, they look really dangerous on these set pieces, Denmark.
Yeah, they do have that height advantage as well. Simon Kjær once again is forward from the back.
I'm just looking at Christensen, he's just right on top of the goalkeeper, so you imagine this is where the ball's probably going to go.
Hasn't scored since 2017, Andreas Christensen. Now will be a good time to change that. Attacking that two-tiered stand, red and white shirts as far as the eye could see. Behind Radetsky's goal, Denmark, it will be Jensen again with the delivery, right-footed, good header away by Arajuri. It's been a real rock for Finland at the heart of that defence, and it's back now inside Danish territory. 6 minutes gone in the second half. It's Denmark 0, Finland 0 here on Talksport 2. And it's Mathias Jensen raiding down the left-hand side once again for Denmark. Finland have barely had a kick since the game restarted, and as Dan Windle said, that in itself shows an incredible strength of character and incredible togetherness in this Denmark team.
Absolutely.
To be able to go out and focus on their jobs and perform them so admirably. Here is Jensen with the long blonde hair and the white Alice band. Brathwaite down the left-hand side, helps it on. It's going to be won back by the Rangers midfielder Glenn Kamara. Not for very long. Mæhle picks it up again on the edge of the Finland penalty area. The game being played almost exclusively now in the Finland half of the field. It's floated out to the left-hand side by Arajuri. It will be out for a Denmark throw, 15 yards inside their own territory.
Yeah, they're just guilty, I think, too often when they have got the ball back, Finland, of just giving it away too cheaply. They can't string more than two passes together before it's back in the Danish hands. It's just what they can do with it now. They've got the ability to cut and carve Finland open.
Denmark unbeaten in the last 23 meetings between these two near neighbours. Tim Sparv there as Trip Poulsen. It's going to be a yellow card for the Finland captain. Started his career in the same Southampton youth team as the likes of Theo Walcott and Gareth Bale. He's had a nomadic existence. He's played in Holland, Germany, Denmark and now Greece. The 34-year-old Tim Sparv, that wasn't a great challenge.
No, just a little bit late because they're too fleet-footed, to be honest. The likes of Poulsen, Brathwaite, Vind, especially Poulsen and Brathwaite. They've got a lot of technicians in their team, Denmark, which, at this moment in time, Finland are just struggling to deal with. And I guess the pleasing thing for them is they've started the second half really well, considering the circumstances.
And we're looking to use those harrowing scenes as extra motivation to get Euro 2020 off to a winning start. Jensen with the ball into the penalty area. Mæhle tried to attack it. Planted off the head of Arajuri. I've been really impressed with Paulus Arajuri. For me, he's been the pick of the Finnish defence, an overworked Finnish defence.
Absolutely, he's got his head on the light, hasn't he? Cleared the danger quite well, but you just think with that little bit of quality, the Danes, if they could maybe pick somebody out with one of their balls, little cut-back cross, get their eyes up, bit of vision.
Here's Brathwaite, plays it out to Mæhle on the left-hand side. Denmark still trying to pick their way through. Højbjerg into Jensen. Jensen with a shot, right-footed, deflected over the bar. Well, that would have been a good moment for him. May not have taken a nick on its way through. I think it's a goal kick, so perhaps just got underneath the shot. Thought for a moment it flicked off O'Shaughnessy. It will be a finished ball.
Yeah, I think you'd probably be disappointed with that Mathias Jensen. They worked it really well, the Danes, from one side to the other, found him free in that sort of number 10 position, zone 14, just off the front, little pocket of space outside the box, a couple of yards outside the box. I think he tried to be too clever there. He tried to look one way and then reverse his strike into the far corner, when actually the best route is the quickest route. Wrap your foot around it, just whip it at that near post.
Højbjerg plays it back into the Danish half, and Andreas Christensen with that Champions League medal that he won against Manchester City still shining brightly in the cabinet, no doubt. The ball threaded through into the penalty area, looking for Jonas Vind, but out comes the yellow-shirted Radetsky. The Finland goalkeeper collapses on top of the ball and clears it out over on the far touchline. Denmark 0, Finland 0. We played 9 minutes in the second half here on Talksport 2. Over on Talksport very shortly, Belgium will be getting their campaign underway. The world number one's taking on Russia, who was so impressive, weren't they, at the World Cup? It'll be interesting to see if Russia can try and pick up where they left off. Plenty more live action coming your way across the weekend. Tomorrow, England, Croatia, live on Talksport. That's a 2 o'clock kickoff. Here on 2 we'll have Austria against North Macedonia, another of the major tournament debutants. That's a 5 o'clock kickoff, and at 8 back on Talksport, Holland take on Ukraine. On Monday I'll be at Hampden Park, Scotland against the Czech Republic. What a moment that will be as the Tartan Army see their team in a major tournament for the first time since France 98. That's a 2 o'clock kickoff, followed at 5 by Poland against Slovakia on Talksport 2, and then Spain, Sweden. Interesting looking match-up, 8 o'clock on Talksport. Love to see the possession stats, David Connolly. It's all Denmark. Here's Højbjerg out to the right, and Daniel Vass urged forward from right back.
Well, it is all Denmark, but a couple of times, right, they just turned it over there, Finland. The long baller, they tried to pick someone out. They couldn't go on the ground, Denmark, so they went in the air, but there was Sparv, and Kamara just broke the play up, gave it to Pukki. He's on the halfway line, but he didn't really have the pace to get away.
Jensen into Vass inside the penalty area, cuts the cross back on, it's headed out from underneath his own crossbar by Toivio. Might come for Vind inside the penalty area. Vind with the left foot and effort, blocked again, and then Vind slices it across the face of the box. I think that will just about be kept in by Vass. Would have been a finished throw. Here's Poulsen now. Poulsen into the penalty area. Volley clear by O'Shaughnessy. Anywhere will do for Finland right now. It's a red wave. The red arrow streaming forward towards that finished penalty area. And there's a chance here for Mæhle on the edge of the area. His shot blocked. And again, Finland clear the danger.
Well, it's a nice little position again for the Danes. Similar to the chance from Jensen. Mæhle right on the edge of the box, maybe a couple of yards out central, but he's probably not the player you really want there.
It's the voice of David Connolly, the former Republic of Ireland international, spoke very eloquently in the immediate aftermath of the Christian Eriksen incident, both here on Talksport 2 and on Talksport.
There they are again. They were trying to force that time it was Højbjerg trying to force the ball into the front central, and Sparv broke it up again.
Here's Kamara down the right hand side, plays it forward to Raitala. Finland looking for a smash and grab raid here. Raitala's effort into the chest of Jensen. He felt the force of that one, and he goes down, and the referee Anthony Taylor stops play. Was it the chest or the nether regions?
No, it looked like the chest there, obviously, and every time a player goes to ground now, obviously it's in the back of your mind about Christian Eriksen.
Just a word on Kasper Schmeichel, because he just appeared in shot on our monitors here in London. I think I'm right in saying he was one of the first on the scene when that helicopter came down at the King Power Stadium. He was exemplary when Christian Eriksen's distraught partner was invited onto the playing surface as he was still down receiving medical treatment. He is an incredible ambassador for the game that we love.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously he's a leader, isn't he? But he's there, obviously, emotionally, empathy, sympathy, trying to do whatever he can for his teammates, for obviously Christian's loved ones. And you could see that even at half-time. I have a feeling that some of the support staff, I'm not too sure they had that much contact with them, judging by what we saw at half-time. You never know. I mean, some teams change in different parts, don't they? You can only have a certain number of staff. We've seen that because of COVID. We've done games, and some staff that I know aren't even on the bench. They're not allowed on the bench. They're sitting in the stands. So I think some of this Danish staff, obviously, Kasper had to go and console them as well, and offer the emotional support that he has to give to them, you know, and he's done that brilliantly.
Denmark 0, Finland 0. We played 13 minutes in the second half. Long ball forward for Poulsen. Really important header away by O'Shaughnessy, because it was a decent diagonal ball over the top of the Finnish defence. Here's Sparv, the captain.
They have done that a little bit more, haven't they, in this second half, I think. The tactic, you know, just go a little bit more direct, but it hasn't quite come off so far for the Danes.
Finland just can't keep possession for any concerted period of time. And we mentioned how difficult it must have been for the Danish players to make the decision to come back out and finish the game. The Finnish players were consulted as well. In some ways it's even harder for them, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's very, very difficult. I'm sure the negotiations or discussions would have been really thorough.
Powerful surge by Brathwaite down the left-hand side, using that pace, keeping the ball well into the penalty area, and tries to cut the cross back for Vindy's on the floor. And O'Shaughnessy just about managed to smuggle it clear. Kamara went down, wasn't fouled, and then Delaney gets underneath the shot and slices it high over the crossbar. It's still goalless.
Yeah, and I guess if you're being critical of the Danes in and around the penalty box, 20 yards out, you know, they haven't hit the target, haven't tested the goalkeeper enough. Jensen hit one over the bar. Here's Delaney just leaning back. He's on his left leg. I mean, it's a perfect position for him, really, but just looking at his body, you can see it quite visibly. He's leaning back. No surprise then the ball follows his head and his chest and his shoulder and goes over the bar.
I guess the longer it stays at 0-0 with Denmark dominating the ball as they are, the more they will fear maybe being hit on the counter-attack. But no goal attempts so far for Finland. 18 for the Danes, only 4 on target. Here's Pukki. He's someone who certainly knows where the goal is. Inside the 18-yard box, he was crowded out by 4 red shirts. Still the cross comes into the penalty area, and it's been headed in. Poya Paolo gives Finland the lead. A very subdued celebration. Kasper Schmeichel couldn't keep the header out. Almost respect in the way the Finnish players are celebrating. It's a historic moment for them, their first ever goal at a major championship. The fans are going wild behind Kasper Schmeichel's goal, but the Finnish players can barely raise a smile. The cross hoisted in by Uranen from the left-hand side. A bullet header diving in from Poya Paolo. Schmeichel got something on the ball, couldn't keep it out. It squirms underneath the Denmark goalkeeper, and it is Denmark 0, Finland 1.
Well, it's a flying header from Poya Paolo, but it is right at the feet of Kasper Schmeichel, who will be really disappointed he didn't keep that out. He didn't really have the pace, I don't think, to beat him there. It was a good ball in, lofted right along the 6-yard line. He's met it well, Poya Paolo, but it's just down towards Kasper's left leg. It just bounces in front of him, but by his standards, which obviously are so high, we saw that in the cup final, he'd be disappointed that got past him.
Well, Marko Kanerva, the Finland manager, brimming with pride in his celebration, and it's Joel Poya Paolo with his 10th goal for his country. He will never score a more significant one, but huge credit to him for the respectful nature of the celebrations. No sooner, David Conley, had I said the fear was that Denmark, for all their possession, all their shots on goal, risk being hit on the counter-attack, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the first time they managed to retain the ball for a couple of passes, and it was a really good cross into the box.
Here's Vind for Denmark. Suddenly find themselves a goal down. With 17 minutes played in the second half here on Talksport 2. What a moment for Finnish football. So long this sport has had to live in the shadow of ice hockey. It'll be all over the front pages, that goal. Poya Paolo, the man to get it with their first shot of the game.
Yeah. Well, they've barely been in the Danish half, to be honest. And it's the first time they put in a cross of any real note with quality, hung up, and it's Poya Paolo. But I have to be honest, probably 99 times out of 100, Kasper Schmeichel would comfortably keep that out.
And again, how much of that is because focus inevitably will not be at 100%, bearing in mind what we've seen tonight?
Well, we know that. At times, and you know, it's difficult to say this, but at times, some of these decisions, I have to be honest, have to be taken out of players' hands. But that's irrespective of whether they win, lose or draw this. Whether to play it was the right, we discussed this with Dan, whether it was the right thing to do, whether it's right for us to commentate on it, whether it's right for us to broadcast it, whether it's right for them to play it. Sometimes it has to be taken out of players' hands.
And I should say that there will be people, and I've seen it on social media already, people very unhappy that this game has continued, probably people unhappy that we've taken the decision as a station to broadcast the game, that you and I, David Conley, have decided to commentate it. My view, and I think you shared the view, was that if the Denmark players felt they could continue, that Christian Eriksen was in a stable enough condition to play the game, then we would do it as well.
Yeah. But But ultimately, I do feel when you've been in football, I've made the same mistake myself, my own family, when people, my loved ones being ill, and you sacrifice seeing them to go and play football. And I needed I need someone to say no. The right thing is you don't play. You don't play here. You go and spend it with your family. And I look back on my career at times, I think I need someone to make that decision for me. I'm not saying the players needed someone else here, but you can't always leave it in the hands of the players and think that's okay, because only in time, a week, a month, a year, they might look back on this and the trauma of it and go, you know, what were we doing? Or they might, you just don't know. You don't know which way. It's got, look, whether you think it's right or wrong, I'm surprised that the players have restarted.
Denmark have made a double change, and Simon Kjær, the captain, has been replaced by Yannick Vestergaard of Southampton. I think Yusuf Poulsen was the other player making way for Andreas Skov-Olsen. So fresh legs from Kasper Hjulmand, the Denmark coach, with his side trailing this Group B opener by a 0-0 for a very emotional night in Copenhagen. And despite the fact their team are behind, still the Denmark supporters doing their best to create an emotionally charged atmosphere. Here is Daniel Vass down the right hand side. Jensen takes over in the lime green footwear on the edge of the penalty area. Jensen, and then Delaney claims he was fouled on the edge of the box. Referee Anthony Taylor, the Premier League official, says no. He's another who's come out of this traumatic evening with a huge amount of credit. Anthony Taylor, his quick instinct, quick reaction to blow the whistle, get the medics onto the pitch to treat Christian Eriksen may have played a big part in saving his life. Ball is crossed in towards Poulsen, still on actually, trying to get on the end of that ball.
Jonas Vind came off. I guess as well you could look at the substitutes and think, I think Simon Kjær was deeply affected by obviously
that was my instant reaction.
Yeah, first man on the first player on the scene, and obviously I can't recall him barely ever being taken up. He's the first name on the team sheet, so I think emotionally that was a change, I think, for the benefit of Simon there.
It's a slight change of system as well, isn't it? Because Yannick Vestergaard at the moment looks like he's playing on the left-hand side, maybe even of a back three, trying to get Daniel Vass and Mæhle higher up the field perhaps.
I think he's just moved over to the left-hand side, and Christensen has just moved over to the right. They're both still part of a back four, from what I can see.
And Vass here is almost playing as a right winger now, as he crosses into the penalty area. Cleared as far as Delaney, right corner of that 18-yard box. Crossed in towards Brathwaite, but it will be smuggled away by Glenn Kamara. I think he's had a good game in midfield as well, Kamara, mopping up in front of that very busy Finland back line. 1-0 Finland lead. And we played 22 minutes in the second half. Højbjerg forward to Vass. Out to the right-hand side he goes. Denmark still searching for this equaliser. Brought down by Skov-Olsen inside the box and teed up for Jensen maybe to get a cross in. Vass instead down by the corner flag. Here's Skov-Olsen now, having just come on. Finds Mæhle. Mæhle forward to Delaney. Delaney inside the box. His cross comes shot. Blocked away by Jukka Raitala. And now here is Brathwaite turning inside the D on the edge of the Finland penalty area. Their supporters in good voice now. Mæhle down the left. Poulsen thrust the ball towards the penalty spot, cleared away by that man Harry Uri again, one of the heroes in blue. And here's Poulsen now 2 yards outside the box. Poulsen towards the far post, looking for Jensen, skips behind, and it will be a goal kick for Finland, who lead 1-0 here on Talksport 2. What can Denmark change to get back in the game?
Well, it's difficult. I mean, they're trying to pick a path through. At times when they've delivered the ball in the box by a cross, that didn't really look like getting on the end of it. When they've tried to play their way through, as they had a little bit of joy in the first half, they were still shooting from relative distance, sort of 20 yards out, 18 yards out. They haven't really cut open Finland. created or crafted anything of real note. Reduced to sort of shots from distance, really, and it's going to take a bravery on the ball from them, to go and try and unlock a door. That's what they're going to have to do. Someone's got to take a chance and maybe try and beat someone, thread a ball through, and they haven't really done that so far, especially sort of in and around the box.
Tremendous scenes amongst the Finnish contingent of supporters, many of whom have been mingling before the game with their Danish counterparts. It was 2016 when they lost every game in a calendar year. To go from there to scoring the first goal in the opening game at their first major tournament is some turnaround for the team. 42 places below the Danes in the FIFA rankings. Here's Mailalo for the host. Still plenty of time, still 21 minutes of this second half to play.
He's very rarely had anything out wide of him, has he, Mailer? Basically he's a right footer playing left back. He's got Brathwaite on the inside of him, so they haven't really ever looked to threaten down the left wing. Invariably, he's always coming back inside into a lot of players. Very congested area, isn't it, in the middle of the park, especially with how Finland are lining up with this sort of 5-3-2.
Yeah, making it really hard for Denmark to find any space in and around the box. Poulsen trying to do that though, got his back to goal, lays it up on the edge of the penalty area. Daniel Vass, probably not the man they would have really wanted on the end of it, yet to score for his country. Left-footed shot high over the crossbar from Vass.
Again, I think he needed another pass there. He needed to work that ball into Brathwaite, a little pass inside the box instead. That's one of your fullbacks. We've seen obviously Marla, he had a shot from goal, he missed over the bar. Now Vass over the bar, another fullback shooting. We've seen Delaney shoot over the bar, Matthijs Jensen. So it's just that quality they really needed around the box.
On punt upfield by the goalkeeper Radetsky. Very busy in the opening half an hour or so, hasn't really been tested since the game restarted. Here's Yannick Vestergaard, all 6'6" of him, stretching out into the Finnish half. Cross from Brathwaite over the head of Poulsen, who reacts as if he had a chance of getting on the end of that. I'm not sure he really did.
Well, you asking a centre forward, a striker, or anyone in that box, when you've got a winger who cuts inside from the left onto his right leg, it's such a hard ball to get on the end of. It's a difficult one, to try and get a contact on. It's really, it's certainly a lot easier if you're a defender to defend against, because the ball's coming at you, you come onto it and clear. But how Denmark play with inverted stroke wingers, so each winger on the other side is coming in onto their sort of stronger foot, it just means it's a little bit easier for Finland to defend.
Here's Brathwaite, gets to the byline, left-footed cross, it's just over the head of Olsen, who's arriving ready to nod it in at the far post. It was purposeful from Brathwaite, using the pace to get in behind Raitala and looking up and drilling the cross along the 6-yard box. Olsen probably just needed to borrow some inches off Yannick Vestergaard, he would have got on the end of it.
Well, it was commentator's curse. Finally there, Brathwaite goes down the line and he tries to pick out a good ball to the back post, but they don't really have any height, do they, the Danes up top? And that might be something I think he'd be looking at here, the Danish manager, just to get some height on the pitch, because if you are going to resort to balls in the box, they might need a bit more of a physical presence in there.
18 minutes remaining. Denmark 0, Finland 1 here on Talksport 2. Finland, who haven't beaten Denmark home or away since 1966, a 2-1 victory in Helsinki. They haven't won in Denmark since 1949. They are edging closer to ending that long wait. And what a start it would be for their European Championship campaign. Bearing in mind the 4 best third-place teams qualified. If they can win this game, David Conley, they've got a tremendous opportunity to make the knockout stages.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously you've got to remember the winners, Portugal, 2016, they didn't win a game in the group stage, came third in their group. There's hope for everyone.
Yeah, sometimes it's not about hitting your stride in the opening match, more improving and growing as the tournament progresses.
Well, that is Finland in a nutshell, right? Progressively growing as a football nation.
Population of only 5.5 million. Here's Poulsen in the penalty area. That looks like a spot kick. Anthony Taylor takes his time and points for a penalty. A huge roar erupts inside the Parken Stadium. To me, It looked like a foul by Ariori. The referee Anthony Taylor bought himself a few seconds and then did point for the penalty.
It was Poulsen, wasn't it? He just got there ahead of him. And I think they did what I was basically asking and willing them to do.
I'm not sure how much contact there was. Looking at the replay, David, look at this.
No, I think there is contact. I think his knee lands on Poulsen's foot. I think there is contact. I think it is a penalty. But what I'm pleased about is they didn't, again, try and sling the ball in the box with another cross, another ball floated in the air. They tried to thread their way through, and that created that chance. Nice little run from Poulsen. He just nicked it in front of the defender. It looked like his knee just landed on Poulsen's foot. It was enough.
Well, tonight, of all nights, maybe it was written in the stars that Denmark will get a penalty. Christian Eriksen, their usual penalty taker, not able to take it for obvious reasons. And the responsibility falls to Pierre-Emile Højbjerg to get Denmark back level. And I'm sure Christian Eriksen will be running through his mind as he steps up here against Lukas Radecki from 12 yards. Højbjerg looking for his 5th Denmark goal. Stands hands on hips. It's a right-footed effort down to the left. It's saved by Radecki. Højbjerg slaps the grass in frustration. It was a penalty that lacked conviction. And Radecki comes to Finland's rescue, but it wasn't a great spot kick.
It wasn't, and I mean, the Finnish fans are mixing with the Danish fans, and there's some obviously putting their arms on the Danes, trying to console them. It's just not going their way. It really isn't. He had a very straight run up there, Højbjerg, and at the very last moment, just opened his right foot out, and he almost telegraphed where he was going, and the goalkeeper read it. Not the best penalty.
Probably not a penalty that he would have wanted to take, in all honesty. Maybe again that goes back to your point about whether this game should have been restarted. Foul by Kamara on Brathwaite. 15 minutes now, Finland away from a historic victory, and Denmark are going to make another 2 changes here. Jens Stryger Larsen and Andreas Cornelius, the former Cardiff City striker, are coming on. Delaney is one of those who will make way. He's been replaced by Stryger Larsen, set to join Watford from Udinese at the end of this championship.
And Cornelius, well, he's the man in the box that I was saying that the Danes needed if they are going to get the ball wide and resort to a lot of crosses, a lot of balls coming in. Then Cornelius, he's the type of player that they need in there.
And there's going to be a change from Finland as well. Tim Sparv is making his way off. So the captain, the veteran, is going to sit out the final stages. And it will be Ronnie Kauko. Rasmus Schürrle as well. And Teemu Pukki replaced, with Finland leading by a goal to 0.
They're just trying to a case like this of having what they hold. Kauko's a bit more of a physical presence. It means a giant of a man.
So Pukki will have to wait a bit longer to join Jori Litmanen as Finland's record goal scorer. Here's Højbjerg, who missed that penalty. Cornelius will also provide a bit of extra aerial strength, and Højbjerg just trying to scoop it onto the forehead. The man who's just come on, it bounces harmlessly behind for a goal kick.
There's another replay here of the penalty where, as I said, that very straight run up from Højbjerg, and at the last moment just opened his right foot out, and it looked obvious from here, and the goalkeeper read it as well, which side he was going, just down low to the goalkeeper. So it wasn't in the corner either. Goalkeeper didn't have to really stretch very far.
Are you surprised he didn't just smash it?
Well, I can't recall the last penalty I saw Højbjerg take, where he put it, his penalty technique. I couldn't tell you.
Denmark 0, Finland 1. Joel Pohja-Paulo with the goal on the hour mark. Denmark, having missed that penalty, Højbjerg denied by Radecki, have 13 minutes to get something from this opening game. Stryger Larsen hooks it forward. Cornelius holds it up well. Here's Jensen now. Pokes it on to Poulsen. First time ball out to the left-hand side. The idea was right. Just not quite the execution. Skips away from Joachim Mæhle.
Yeah, because Mæhle's always narrow. You see, they don't have that natural lefty out on that that side of the pitch in front of the dugouts. They haven't really got a left footer in their team that can operate out wide. They've got Delaney, but he's sort of someone at times who plays in the middle of the park, but they haven't really got a left footer of note. And when you are going to switch that ball, what you want is a fullback that's out there or a wide man, and they just don't have that.
Oh, it's a lovely layoff though by Paolo on the edge of the penalty area into Calco, who's just come on. Cross thrust in from the left hand side, headed away by Christensen, but one back by Calco down that far touchline. His cross low into the area, cleared away, but he's a bit of a handful, isn't he, Calco, since coming on? He's spun it down by the left corner flag. Huibier nicks it away from Robin Lurd, and it's cleared upfield, and here's Poulsen on the counter-attack. They're going to get away from Kamara. Poulsen with the right-footed ball forward out to that far touchline. Brathwaite knocks it into the penalty area. He goes for goal himself, and really should have cut it back for a teammate. It's an easy save from Radetzky.
Well, he had the pace to get to the byline, but then he needs a little bit of composure. He's had a look in the box. I think he is trying to pick out Cornelius, but it's far too close to the goalkeeper. Again, though, not quite clean hands from Radetzky. Just pats it down on the ground, picks it up at the second chance, but a poor ball in from Brathwaite.
Had a mixed night, hasn't he? Radetzky saved the penalty, made one or two other excellent reaction stops, but his handling at times has left a bit to be desired. Here's Mailer now down the left to Cornelius. The man described by the Cardiff owner Vincent Tan as wanting a Bentley, got a Skoda. It's a bit harsh, isn't it?
It is a bit.
Mailer into Jensen. Time running out here for Denmark to avoid defeat in the opening match of their Euro 2020 campaign, and Finland are scrapping for every ball now. Lurd into the goal scorer Paolo. They looked absolutely shattered at one stage, Finland, but that goal has given them a burst of energy.
Absolutely. And we were discussing a fair, weren't we, in terms of, you know, the announcement of the Finnish squad for the Euros, which was quite something. You know, they, I guess, copied what England did for the Women's, you know, World Cup. There are various celebrities reading out each player and the number and the name, and various Finnish celebrities. It was quite something.
Helped with our pronunciation, didn't it?
Yeah.
Here's Jensen, down by the left corner flag for Denmark, still trailing by a goal to nil here on Talksport 2. David Conley, the former Republic of Ireland striker, and Alex Crook, your commentary team. A night we'll never forget. Here's Christensen.
And as well as the goals, the penalty has helped them, isn't it? You know, the penalty save, you know, just giving them that now, that's something else to hold on to, knowing that maybe it is a night where then things are going right.
Small momentum swings, isn't it? Because if Huibier had converted the penalty, you would have fancied Denmark to go on and win the game. Here is Pierre Huibier. Plays it into the centre circle, and Christensen. Denmark with plenty of Premier League experience in this squad. Here's another of the English-based contingent. Vestergaard into Mailer, who almost joined Southampton a couple of years ago. Vestergaard into the penalty area, across the 6-yard box, and he couldn't turn it in. Sko Olsen arriving. You heard a shriek from behind the goal. It's brilliant defending from Jere Uranen to scramble it clear.
And O'Shaughnessy, I think, as well. Really well-crafted move. Nice little cut-back cross, but excellent defending. Really good from Uranen. O'Shaughnessy, you see both of them combined. Lovely little footing on Sko Olsen.
It's a corner for Denmark. They're ninth of the game. 1-0 Finland lead with 8 minutes remaining of the 90. Mathias Jensen, fresh from winning promotions to the Premier League with Brentford, will take this corner. The flag fluttering in the evening wind. Jensen too close to the goalkeepers, headed away by Ari Uri, now wearing the captain's armband in the absence of Sparv, and it's been a captain's performance really, apart from conceding the penalty. It's a poor punch again from Radetzky under pressure, and grateful there that O'Shaughnessy can hook it clear to the halfway line. And then it's knocked out of play by Denmark. Cheaply conceded throw inside their own half.
It's not a clear contact, not the best punch either from the goalkeeper, but I'll just come back to the ball in the box, because although the cross is coming from the left-hand side, again it's an in-swinger with a right footer, and they're the easiest ones to defend, often the hardest if you're an attacker to get on the end of.
Trademark long throw from O'Shaughnessy into the Danish half, but it's won back by the team in red, and Mailer wastes no time in getting the ball forward to the edge of the penalty area. Poulsen felt he was upended. Referee Anthony Taylor says no. Finland now just trying to keep possession, keep composed. Kamara out to the left-hand side, where it's controlled neatly on the thigh by Poyapalo, their goal scorer.
Well, it's certainly given them a little bit of relief. Already they've kept the ball for much longer than they did in that first, 60, 70 minutes. They're turning the ball over after one or two passes. Now they're getting it into Kamari, switching play, and although they've turned it over here, you can see the belief is growing.
I'd like to see another Brentford player coming on for Finland. Marcus Forss, who scored in their semi-final playoff against Bournemouth, is being readied by Marco Canerva. 5 subs, of course, can be used every match in this championship.
Well, he scored this, didn't he, against France? He scored a really good goal, so we've been confident for him. It was excellent for Brentford this season when he got his chances. Weren't many for Tony, but when he got them, he took them.
Mailer tries to play it forward to Paulson inside the penalty area. Again, Finland defending well. Toivio this time, the 3rd most capped player in the history of the Finland national team, mopping up. Anthony Taylor just pointing to the watch, indicating that he will be adding on time as Finland make this change, and to a hero's ovation from the travelling supporters, it's the goal scorer Joel Poyapalo, who is replaced by Forss.
Yeah, I think he's acknowledging the whole stadium here. I think he's clapping both sets of fans, and I think Anthony Taylor went over to motion as if he was maybe wasting time, but I don't think it's that. I think he's just acknowledging the whole Danish fans, the Finland fans, who have just come together just to try and offer each other enough support here.
It's not a night when gamesmanship and the dark arts are at the forefront of any player's mind, and whatever happens in the final 5.5 minutes, whatever the outcome, it still feels irrelevant, really. And these players, I'm sure, will have a special bond after the scenes that we saw involving Christian Eriksen before the game was halted for a long time. Denmark came out of the traps quickly, looked determined to put on a show for their teammate, but that sucker punch goal from Poyapalo has got Finland on the brink of a historic victory. Their first ever match, remember, at a major tournament. 110 years after the Finnish Football Association was founded. More than 30 miscuts in terms of qualifying before they booked their place at Euro 2020. And that win over Liechtenstein when 10,000 supporters flooded the pitch in Helsinki. Many of them will be here tonight. They will be proud of their eagle owls. Here's Jensen, just inside the Finland half of the field, plays it out to the right. Can Denmark claim the equaliser? Cornelius linking up with Paulson, but that man, Kamara, there to win it back for Finland once again in front of the back line. And then, well, the Finland fans felt Jensen foul force. The 2 Brentford teammates colliding, but the referee Anthony Taylor plays on. Here's Andreas Christensen stepping out over the halfway line for Denmark. Belgium against Russia underway over on Talksport, the other game in this group this evening. There's already been a goal in that one. Belgium 1, Russia 0. Romelu Lukaku with his first of what many people, including me, expect to be a prolific tournament. In comes the cross for Denmark. Paulson surely's got to turn it in from 7 yards. Brilliant defending by Raitala. How did he get his body in the way of that? 6 yards out. Hoybier with a cross into the area, looking for Cornelius, and it will be cleared away by Jere Jurinen. And we've got a delay here because I think Raitala, in making that heroic block, has injured himself. Yeah, it was a good block, but it comes back to again Radetsky. Ball comes into the area. Here he is, tries to claim it, completely misses it. Ends a sort of at a fly at Paulson, can't quite get his shot off, but it is a good clearance. But I mean, Radetsky's had one of those evenings where he's looked so shaky at times, but obviously he's come up with that penalty save. It just looks like it's just not going to go the Danes' way. Denmark 0, Finland 1. A long delay here for the injury to Raitala. He's got his left shin pad off. Clearly felt the force of that. I think he will need some treatment. Anthony Taylor doing his best to keep a calm head. We've only got, David Conley, 2 minutes plus added time to play. Yeah. Is it cramp?
Well, it looks like it. I mean, I think certainly what Paulson was indicating was that, maybe should we have stopped play here because but obviously what's happened previously, I think Anthony Taylor did have to bring a halt to proceedings, and I guess we can have another look at this penalty where Paulson just gets there in time, and there is the
faint as a contact with the knee.
Enough.
Well spotted, says the former striker.
Yeah, that is enough.
I used to play right back.
Yeah, well, I would have won a few pens off you, that's for sure. But it's just,
you would.
I think Højbjerg is just, and as soon as he missed that penalty, he sunk to his knees, and that was probably their moment of the game, get back on level terms.
Kasper Hjulmand still trying to urge his team forward. The Danish fans still encouraging their team to get this equaliser. We're going to get added time now at the end of the game. Good couple of minutes there for the treatment from Jukka Raitala. He's played in 8 different countries, Raitala, now plying his trade with Minnesota over in the States, managed by the former Everton player Adrian Heath. The right wing back who is fit and able to continue. We've got 1 minute remaining at the end of the 90 plus whatever Anthony Taylor decides to add on. And only now 1 or 2 Denmark supporters beginning to head for the exits on this seemingly never-ending summer's evening in Copenhagen. I think when we went on air just before 5 o'clock, David, we thought we'd still be commentating it near on 8:30. Jori has won a free kick there, been caught in the face midway inside the Finland half of the field, and we've got 20 seconds, no more now.
Yeah, I think it's Vestergaard here with the challenge. At times he's trying to be another forward, really, just to help him get up the pitch. Now they want to go a bit more direct. They put a centre-half up there from goal kicks. Can he win the first flick on? He's a big boy, isn't he, Vestergaard? And it comes back to the depth that they've got as well. The Danes, look at the players that they're able to bring on. Just shows you the quality they have, but this will be obviously a result that will go down in history. Whether there'll be a certain mark against it, we don't know, but it'll be a huge moment for Finnish football, winning a game at their first European Championships, that's for sure.
Jukka Raitala has been replaced by Leo Väisänen. As Finland try and get the job done in stoppage time. 4 added minutes, all that separates the Scandinavians from a momentous victory. Joel Puija-Paolo with the goal 15 minutes into the second half. Kasper Schmeichel goes long for Denmark. Vestergaard helps it on inside the D, but it's stabbed clear by Joni Kauko. Acrobatically put back into the Finnish half by Mæhle, but it's all a bit rushed now, and Paulson has just taken a knock there. It's going to be a throw-in for Finland. The white trainer wearing Kasper Hjulmand, keen for them to get restarted as quickly as possible, David Conlon.
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously going very direct now. Kasper obviously just encouraging his teammates to push up the pitch, get in and around the box. He's going to go long. He's going to try and get as close as he can to that Finnish penalty area. Vestergaard will be the target, I imagine.
With Russia losing to Belgium over on Talksport, they can see this out, and Russia do lose the game, and Finland gets something against Russia. I think they'll be in the last 16. Here's Jensen. A lot of football to be played before that happens. But Denmark running out of time. Ball crossed into the area. Vestergaard with a header, but down into the ground, and comfortable save for Radetzky. Yannick Vestergaard, probably not the player that Denmark would have wanted on the end of that.
Well, yes and no. The only thing is it was sort of in the air, which you think that's what he's there for, but as he tried to guide it with his head, it just came off his shoulder, so it just didn't really have any pace to trouble the goalkeeper.
Had to try and generate his own power as well, didn't it? He played 2 of the 4 added minutes. Finland have got a player down, but Kasper Schmeichel in no mood to put the ball out of play. Volleys it right-footed, high into the Copenhagen sky. Flicked on by Vestergaard, but cleared from inside the box by Toivio. Højbjerg into Vestergaard, his former Southampton teammate. Cleared only as far as Mæhle. Mæhle inside the area, crosses. Vestergaard got something on the header, but can only glance it away from goal. Brathwaite dispossessed on the byline. by Uranen, and it's cleared now as far as Striker Larsson, who's going to cross deep into the 18-yard box. Cornelius goes up, hits his hand. Free kick for Finland, and that might just be that, David.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's just actually Vestergaard's slip there. He's the one you really wanted him to come onto this ball, but it was a clear handball there. I've got to say, some of the Finnish defenders, I think, have played really, really well. They've coped, especially with those crosses in the box, exceptionally well.
Well, there are plenty of people who predicted Finland wouldn't score a goal, let alone pick up a point. They are 30 seconds away from victory in the Danish backyard. Denmark with Belgium to play next. Live on Talksport on Thursday. It's a throw-in for Finland. Midway inside the Denmark half, over on the left-hand side. Jere Uranen will be in no hurry at all to take this. Plays it down towards the corner flag and Kauko. Kauko's got to the byline. Threatening to run it out of play, keeps it in. And then Jensen plays it against Kauko and out for a throw, but the 4 added minutes are up. Kasper Schmeichel has to get this forward. Brilliant skill to flick it up and volley it right-footed over the halfway line. Headed clear by Ariuri.
He's been excellent, hasn't he, Ariuri? Centre-half is now the skipper since Barber's gone off.
Here's Striker Larsson. Anthony Taylor is going to give Denmark one last opportunity to get the ball up and into the area. Vestergaard with a flicked header. Won't come down, though, for a Denmark player. And surely now, time is up. There goes the full-time whistle. It's a historic night for Finland on their first ever appearance at a major international tournament. They've picked up their first ever victory. Well, if the goal celebrations were muted, bearing in mind the harrowing events involving Christian Eriksen that saw this game suspended for over an hour and a half, they are milking the moment at the full-time whistle. Joel Pohja-Paolo etching his name in Finnish football history. The coach, Marko Kanerva, has been lifted high into the sky. They have a motto, Finland, in the inside of their jerseys. Sisu. It's a Finnish word that means sustained courage in the face of adversity. And I think that probably just about sums up what we've seen in Copenhagen on this extraordinary summer's evening. Denmark 0, Finland 1.